Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining. I have a couple things before we get started while we wait for everyone else to enter. But I'm Sinead, I'm the events coordinator at SmartSimple, and I've got Mark Bridger here, where he's going to walk over the July upgrades for us. And then to let you all know, this is being recorded, and it will be available to all of you. At the end of the week, I'll send out an email with a link so that you can all watch it on our YouTube. And just a note, we'll go over questions at the end, so you can use the Q&A box. We'll go over them all once we're finished. So you can ask them at any time, but we'll get to those at the end to let Mark walk through everything.
Great.
So I guess I'll hand it over to you there, Mark.
Thank you very much. All right, so welcome to the July 2024 upgrade. I'm Mark, the UI UX manager here at SmartSimple. I'm just going to I'll turn off my video so you can see my screen a little better. Let's see, sharing. Yes, share my screen. All right. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Cool. So everything I'm going to talk about today is right here on wiki.smartsimple.com, and click on the upgrades. This is targeted towards administrators, so I'm going to show you kind of behind the scenes of all the changes. And let me just dig right in. So first off, I went into the, I went to home, and right here on upgrades, this is where you can see all the changes that are happening to the system. We list everything here, including the release notes. So this is a major upgrade, but sometimes we'll have releases or service packs in between where we fix certain things, and that all gets listed here as well. Now, the first thing to note is that this upgrade did move out a week, just out of an abundance of caution. We added an extra week for testing. So the new release date is July 25th for the key release. And if you're not sure what that means, that's mainly our SaaS servers, which is typically a lot of our North American clients. We'll get this upgrade on the 25th. So you've got about 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks after that, it'll hit the global release, which is typically our managed dedicated and a lot of our European clients. So the backups, your system, most of your SaaS servers will have a backup system. Will have already been applied if you're in the key release zone, and you can go in there and you can start testing these things right away. There's a 5-minute video here that kind of goes over the highlights if you don't have time to watch the whole thing. And as Sinead said, this video is recorded, so you can watch it again later if I go a little too quickly, or if you just want to rewatch it. And do send your questions into the chat right now. Here's some highlights of what's in this, but I'm going to dig right in. So I always start with the global system upgrades. These are things that happen automatically because I want you to know what's going to change. All right, so let's start off with the annotation mode. So we did do some improvements to the annotation mode, and if you've never used this before, the annotation mode is an easy way to collaborate on records, and we did kind of an overhaul of the look and feel. So right now I'm going to emulate as a reviewer. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to emulate as a reviewer. So here's this person, and I'm going to emulate their session. So now I'm seeing what a reviewer would see, and I'm going to go to a test record that I've created just to demonstrate the new annotation mode. So the first thing is, when I'm in this status, I've made it go directly into annotation mode. And one of the new changes is the left navigation is hidden to give you kind of more room. You can bring it back if you want by exiting annotation mode and coming back into it. And the next thing you'll notice here is we've got the list on the right of all the annotations. The annotations are kind of a communication back and forth between the reviewer or maybe the internal staff and the applicant, asking them to change something about their the request. So here's the application. And over here, I have the list of all the annotations. So these are sets of annotations. So I've had some back and forth already with this amount requested field. And so here's the amount requested. And what I can do here as the reviewer, I can say, well, that's not right. I need you to change that. So please change to be over 500. Sure. All right. And so I can send that message off. So now I've got that message and it's sent off. And when I'm done adding all my messages, I send those back to the applicant to revise. So once I do that, and I click this annotation button, and the record is now sent back to the applicant. It is locked down. I'm not allowed to change anything as the reviewer. and then the applicant gets notified of that. So what I want to do now that I've sent it off is I'm going to emulate the applicant so you can see what they see. So let me just go and do that real quick so you can see the whole process. So now I'm going to go to an applicant profile and I'm going to emulate them. So I'm logging in as if I'm that user. I'll see what that user can see and do. And I'm going to go to that same record. Now they would have received an email. We can also utilize the notification icon to tell them that there's a record that needs their attention. All right, so now I'm going to go into it as this applicant, and here I can see that request I made where the internal reviewer said, hey, please change this to over 500. So as an applicant, I can click on this and I can reply and I'll say, okay, I want 500. So updated, and they've updated it, and you can see that this value is now updated. Now I can go back into that list. And one thing I want to draw your attention to is the colors have changed here. So when I've responded, my responses are going to be in blue, whereas other people's actions or responses will be in yellow. So I can see that the reviewer also asked me to take care of something here, but I've already responded to this. So it's now colored blue in the list. Now I can navigate and open this annotation up by clicking on the field itself. But in this case, this field's on a different tab where I can't see it. So I can just click on it and it navigates me to the right field right away so I can see that. And so then I could update here and reply there, and I can go back to the list at any time. Now, one more new thing, in addition to making this a little bigger, a little easier to use, and changing the colors so that you can indicate, much like in a chat, you know, my messages are one color and everyone else's messages are another color. We've added one last thing called the resolved state. So I'm going to show you that. So let's say they're done. They submit these revisions back. So yep, I'm done. My revisions are submitted. Great. Then the reviewer would get a message, an email message, for example, and then they can go back in and check that I did make those changes and they are proper. So let me just log in one last time, this time as the reviewer, to show you the resolved state, which is a new option here. So I'm going to emulate the reviewer one last time. I'm going to open up that record one last time. And I can see here it's colored yellow because the applicant has responded. So I'm ready to action it, and I can look at it and say, okay, I want it 500. It's been 500. I can now mark that as resolved. And so when I come into my list, I can see here's the active ones that are still being worked on, and this one is resolved. I don't have to worry about that annotation anymore. So that's the first thing with the annotation mode, and this gets applied directly. This is a role-based permission if you want to add the resolved, because you have to specify which role can mark things as resolved. But other than that, everything else will happen automatically if you're using the annotation feature. Now, one last thing is, if you aren't using the annotation feature and you want to check it out, we do have an updated article, wiki article right here, where you can check that out, how the setup is. It is a bit involved. So, and you can also reach out to the platform team for this or any other clarity that you need. But if you do have questions, just put them in the chat. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the new AI-assisted search, which is really a natural language processing search. What this is if I click this robot icon here, it switches the search mode, where now I can type in text as I want instead of using the normal filters or the advanced search. I can just say something like, show me all records in draft status, and then it does it. So instead of using all those other options, I can start typing things in natural language and it'll search it. One thing to note about this is it doesn't search all the data across your system or anything like that. It's not sending the data to the AI. The AI is just generating the query or the filter. So again, that's a new feature in the search. And if you want to turn it off, you can just click the head again, and you can see that when it's off, I can see the type, the status, and the filter. When it's on, those disappear, and I just type my natural language in a natural way. All right. The next thing, and this is really more for system admins, but I wanted to highlight it high up in the webinar and on the wiki, is really talking about making our servers stronger. And what we're talking about here is um, in this upgrade, we're going to be blocking executables and script libraries that are from a third party. So this really only probably matters if you have customization where, let's say, you're going out and pointing to a jQuery file on an external server somewhere, or maybe some CSS on an external server, then those files will be blocked. And for your system admins, if you go into F12, which is properties here, and you go to the console, you would see here that it's being blocked. And if that's the case, and you actually need that resource, the best thing to do would be to move it into a smart folder and reference it there. If that's not possible, again, call our support team, and they can make an exception for your instance when you need to go out to a third party. And again, that's just for security. We really don't want third-party executables running from within our system. So just keep that in mind. The next thing I want to show you is the group email, which isn't new, but group email is a nice way to, let's say I want to send an email to a bunch of people related to this record. Oh, first I have to get out of that session and go back as my system admin. Here I am. Let me go back and do it again. So I'm going to send an email to people associated with these records. Maybe I'm telling them that the deadline's closing, or they need to action some way, or some update. So I come in here and I say, okay, all the people associated with this record in this role, I'm going to send them an email. The thing that's changed in this one, and again, this is for security to prevent email spoofing, is the from address is now a dropdown. So I can send it from myself. I can send it from the default system email, but it's no longer a free form text. I can't impersonate someone else and send emails as if I'm them. So again, that's another change for security. Something else I just wanted to highlight is that we did update the way the list views load. So now when you're in a UTA, for example, your list view, if there's a large list view, it will load the items asynchronously. So you see a loading thing, and I can still navigate around. I don't have to wait for that whole list view to load. Also notice here, again, this is probably more for system admins, but previously we used to allow, you used to choose whether or not you wanted files uploaded to be virus scanned in real time. In this upgrade for security, we're going to automatically scan all files that get uploaded in real time. And if they are suspected of being a virus, the user will be notified either right where they try and upload it, or under the notification, depending on whether or not it goes into the queue. Files that are over 100 megabytes will go into a queue and then be scanned. Other files get scanned exactly right away. If a file is in queue, you'll notice that you can't rename it. Other people can't view that file until the virus scan is complete. And again, that's just for safety. As seen in the screenshot here, you can go to this area, system admins, and they can see as well the list of all the suspected files that might have had a virus that got removed and where they got removed from and what user had uploaded them. So again, that is there. All right. Let's go into the on-demand features. So these are things you have to opt into. These are the more fun items in my opinion. And the first thing I want to talk about is the privacy and security policy. So privacy and security, typically when you log into a system, we're going to show people a privacy and security policy and let them know how we're going to protect their privacy as a compliance checkpoint. At any time, the user can typically go up into here and they can see what privacy policies they've accepted. They can review those at any time. So that's not new, but what we did do is we've made a new version of the tool we use for this compliance checkpoint. And I'm going to show you the new version. The new version, you have to opt into it, and I'll go over why after. But I'm just going to show you some of the features of the new privacy and security policies. So I've gone into global settings, security, privacy and security policies, and this is where I would set up my policies that I want to show people and I want them to accept. And then I want to keep a copy that they've accepted that policy, those terms of conditions to use the system. So if I go into privacy and security policies here, think of this as the overall policy itself. So I have things like, when does the policy become effective? When does it expire? We have some options here for whether the person gets to accept or decline, or whether they just have to acknowledge that policy, or whether they can continue using the system even if they have neither accepted nor declined. We also have a new option here for enforcing the scrolling. So again, when I show the policy, do I make them scroll all the way to the bottom before I let them accept it? Or can they just accept it right away without reading through it? Um, a new point is our collection points. And collection points, as I said, is typically we'd have these on the login page or the sign up page. Now we've added some new collection points. So for example, if I had a review, I could use this tool for conflict of interest attestation. So I can attach this to the creation of a level 2, for example, and I can show you how that works in a second. The other new part of the new feature is that we've got a version control here where whenever you create it and you push it live, at that point, the content gets locked down. And if I want to make changes, I have to click new version, and then I can make that new version, I push that live. So you're always going to have kind of a draft version of your policies and a live version of your policies that you keep promoting over time. And the last thing I want to show you, besides the user log, which shows who's accepted these, is the section builder. So if this is the main policy, then within the policy, you have subsections. So the main policy has permissions, for example. I can say who has to accept this policy by role and based on their country. We've also added the addition of adding translations. So you no longer have to have a separate policy for each country, for each language combination. Now you can have a policy and you can permission that based on your role. You can have translations of that policy. And in addition, I can have sections within my policy. So these are, for example, here I have a section on accessibility. And what I can do here is I can permission each section individually as well. So if you want to have an addendum, so here's a policy everyone needs to accept, but because you are a reviewer, you get this extra addendum. Again, you can do that this way. So really, it's kind of simplifying this experience. Now, this is an opt-in. And the reason why it's an opt-in is because if you choose to use the new one, because it works in a little bit of a different way and a much of a different structure, you have to rebuild your policies to use it in the new one. So our new clients will get this new way. Our existing clients will have to transition if they so choose. Even if you do turn on the new one, your old attestations are still kept and you can still access those, but you do have to create your policies again using the new policy builder. And before I go on to the next item, I'll just show you, for example, how this kind of looks. So if I'm here and I make, in this case, I'm in a level 1. So here is a conflict of interest, for example. So you could attach this to the level 2, for example, and then you can make someone accept this before they create their review or before they do create a level 2 or level 3 of that type. And of course, if they cancel, it doesn't get created. So that way you can't create it unless you've accepted that attestation. If you have questions, again, put them in the chat. Next thing I want to talk about is our follow feature. So this is, again, it's an opt-in. Where let's say you have an opportunity or something, you're an organization that has an opportunity, maybe it's a new line of funding, or maybe it's an opportunity event like a volunteer event or something that you want people to come to. What people can do now is they can go into a list of organizations and they can say, these are the organizations I'm interested in. So for example, I pick these two and I say, I want to follow these. And then what happens is the system administrator creates a workflow attached to, let's say, a level 1. That organization is associated with, and then when that organization moves that record into a state where it's ready for people to apply to, they can get an automatic email about it. So again, it's kind of like social media where I'm following or liking the organizations that I want to be notified about. And then when that organization is associated with a new level 1 and a specific status, we can send them emails saying, hey, calls open here, or here's an event you can apply to as such. So again, I can follow it and unfollow it from that organization level or the list view level. The next one's a real quality of life improvement, I think. And this is a way of creating activities in bulk, scheduled activities in bulk. So let me show you how that is done. We made a new way of doing this. You can always create multiple activities in bulk, but this is a scheduled activity. So I'm going to show you this new tool. So if I come in here, and it's a customizable tool, I'll show you how I did it in a second. I call this create events, but you can call it whatever you want. And what this is going to do is, let's say I know that for this application, I'm going to do 4 site visits or a number of site visits. So what I can do is I can create level 2s for those site visits in bulk very quickly. So let's say site visit, and then I say I'm going to want to do these every Monday, let's say starting this Monday, to the end of the month. All right. And I will look for X while I'm there. So I set preview, and now I have a list. So these are 4 activities it's going to create, and I can adjust them as I want. I can adjust the dates as I want. I can adjust, this is a custom field I added, but you can add more custom fields. And then once I'm happy, I just hit create, and it makes those level 2s for me. So again, it's a nice, easy way to make level 2s in bulk. And let me just show you the settings for that real quick. So activity, I'm going to go down here to activity scheduler. And so I created one and I called it create events there. You saw that, which showed up under my tools menu. You can give it a name, whatever you want, and you can permission it. It's going to create, for me, it was going to create events as my level 2 type of activity in the draft status. But again, you can change that. And I added 1 custom field, but you can add more. And then I can role permission it. So, reviewer, maybe if they're always making a set of activities, you can set one of these up for them so they can make those really quickly in bulk. The next thing I want to talk about is the AI insights, which you can see up here. If I'm in a UTA, I can also see it here. Now, this is an opt-in if you've subscribed to our AI services. And what this is it's basically a really easy way to make a custom training model. So basically what I can do in the UTA, for example, is I can click this and I can open up a menu where I ask it questions about the data that I've sent it within my UTA. Up here, you can also do set training model with something, other information you've uploaded. For example, here I'm saying operation policies and procedures, and I can ask the AI questions about my policies and procedures here. And I can upload my own policy and procedure document, and then that custom model will then answer questions based on the information that you've uploaded. The next thing I want to show you is our system variables. And system variables, again, a very old feature, but what we've done in this one, and the system variables are used for, I'll show you in case you've never seen before. Here's system variables. So system variables are a way where I can enter one piece of information in one place. So a value here, I've added an email. And then anywhere in the system, I can call that that variable and it'll return that value. So for example, in this one I used an email. So everywhere I want that email, I just put my variable. And if I change the value here, it changes across the system. I don't have to go and update that in 100 places. In this upgrade, we've added the ability to translate that. So I don't have to put SS logic. So based on the user's language, I can show a different value here. And if you've never seen how it works, I'll just show how it, whoops, I didn't. Well, when you're in a record, you just put at system dot, the name of your variable at, and then that will resolve in real time when the person looks at that page or that record. And then based on whatever language they're in, they'll see whatever value you've specified. The next thing I want to talk about is the linked record list. So the linked record list, again, not a new feature, but we've enhanced it to support notes. So what the linked record list does is it allows you, let me open one up right now. It allows you to show things that are in the left navigation, such as the contacts, the invitations, the organizations, those kind of things, and show them right in line on the record. So if I create a new one, I'll just show you this. A special linked record list. Where am I? Special linked record list. All right, so when I create a special linked record list, I can choose, I can show the activities in line, so you don't have to click on that left navigation, the contacts, invitations, organizations. The new one is notes. Also, mixed record type is very cool because I can have different types of list views and put them all into the single list. So that's really handy when you don't want to have, as I said, if you don't want to have the person navigate here to the left, the contacts, organizations. You can see here I put the contacts here, and you can see the context associated, add context, etc. through here without having to click on these tabs on the left. This is I know there's a lot in this upgrade, so thank you for bearing with me on this. The next thing I want to talk about is ORCID. And this is for more of our researchers, our research organizations. Researchers often want to pull their ORCID information into their profile. And if you do so, we have some nice charts and things that display that nicely, and you can map that to other fields and pull that data in. Now, in the May release, we did release a way that you can acknowledge people who are reviewing their peer review activities and push that data to ORCID. You can also now pull that back in and show that along with other additional data right here. So if this is something that interests you, again, I highly recommend you reach out to the platform team and they can kind of demo that and show you how that works. But we do have this way to acknowledge people are doing those peer reviews, their participation in that, and then as well show more details around researcher profiles by clicking on this new tab. And if you, just a reminder that you do want to click your re-import ORCID data to pull the new data in periodically. The next thing I was going to talk about is our PDF text export. And you might say, oh, what would you use this for? Well, especially if you're using the AI to like summarize or translate or otherwise manipulate the data someone has put into the system. This is a really handy feature if the data coming in isn't a PDF. So, for example, on a multiple file upload field, I could upload a PDF that maybe is some supporting documentation, or maybe it's a resume or something like that, and I can extract all the data from that and store it into a multi-line text field. And once it's in there as plain text, then it's really easy to manipulate that data and use it for other purposes. So that's a new feature on the multiple file upload field, that you can scrape out that text and store it to another field where it's easier to work with. Yeah, you can change the submit button. All right, so here's what I'm going to show you as well. And I wanted to show you this real quick. It affects anyone using the SMTP relay, which is sending out emails. All right, so if I go into communications, I just want to highlight that we are now using the integration key for the SMTP relay settings. So previously you would have seen a username and password here. After the upgrade, that will get migrated into an integration key, which will be selected here, and we'll be using integration keys for anyone moving forward. You also have the option to use OAuth 2 as your authentication for the SMTP. And the only thing that I just want to caution people is if you are using the TTP tool, make sure you exclude this so you don't overwrite the integration key. And if you've never seen integration keys, they're here, integration key management. So yeah, I'm digging into the advanced stuff for the admins now. The next thing I want to talk about is, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in here, but I'm not going to go over all of it. If you have questions, you can ask me. The system design, now we're pulling in the organizations and users, which is great. System design basically is like a Word document that shows all your fields and their settings, or a lot of your fields and their settings. You can keep that kind of as an archival reference. We did some changes to some updates to our e-signature integrations. On top of that, we added a new option for our Stripe integration where you can turn on the Stripe Connect if you're using that for your payment forms, and that streamlines that process a little bit. Next, I'll show you the subject line for notes. So you may not have ever turned this on. It was a relatively new feature. So we have an opt-in here for the subject line on notes. So if you're using notes, and I'll just go to a record here to show you, and you turn that on, and let's see if I've got one that has a note on it here. Yes, there's a note in here. So it changes the way that the notes render, and it also gives you a kind of a subject line for the notes. So instead of it just being a note and who did it, you can kind of title your notes, and that's now reportable. Along with the e-signature from Adobe Sign, DocuSign, there's now a new and easier way to kind of reauthorize that. So if for some reason your authorization has failed, you can quickly reauthorize that there. Also, if you wanted to switch, so maybe you're using one account, but now you have another account and you want to switch it, again, we've made it really easy with a button to do that on that setting. And the last thing I want to talk about before I hit the question and answers is just our work with AI. We've improved the formatting of that. And this is kind of a call and response. When you're inside a record, you can ask it questions and you can talk to the AI and get help kind of revising your text or other information like that before you enter it into the system. All right, so without any further ado, let's see if we've got any questions.
We do have a couple. So the first one is, does the AI search look across list views or only within the one you selected?
Yes, so the AI search is only looking at information in this list view, and it's also only creating the query. So it's not it's not like sending all the information in your list view out to the AI and analyzing it that way. It's only looking at the information that's in the list view itself. It's not looking at other list views or data that's not in that list view.
Okay, and then our other question is, do you have a planned depreciation date for the old privacy policies format?
We don't have a date set yet for the old one. You can continue using it as long as you choose at this point. Yeah, there's no date set right now. It is an opt-in because we can't just migrate your current policies over. You have to rebuild those, even though your old attestations will stay and you can still reference those. We don't have a migration date set for that. So it's new clients will get it. Older clients will have to opt in to start using it, but they will not lose the old one at this point.
Okay, we've got a couple more just come in. Is
Mm.
AI Assistant standard and upgrade or additional cost? Will it stay in backup?
The AI assistant is not an additional cost. Right now, it'll just appear after the upgrade, and it will show up on the backup. This one, if you're talking about the assisted search, the insights you have to opt in to get those. You have to set those up, and those are a paid service. But I believe there's a deal going on right now, or something. You have to reach out to platform for more information about it. But if you are interested in the AI feature set, do reach out.
Yeah, I believe there is a 6 month trial happening.
Mhm.
The platform's a good way to get in on
Yes,
that.
but this is not related to that. This is it's going to show up automatically right now, and it's just helping you build that query, and there's no cost for that.
Great. Then for bulk activity creation, are we able to create a final report from multiple applications at once?
Not sure if I understand the question exactly. You can create um, like multiple level twos in bulk, like multiple activities. If your final reports are level twos, then you can do that. I believe you can. I'm not sure if you can do it on the level 3 or not. I'd have to check. I think it might only be level 2s. So activity schedule is there. Let's see if the sub activity has one. No, it looks like you can only create level 2s. So it strictly just creates level 2s as kind of a quality of life improvement to make that easier.
Okay. If we don't start using the integration key once the migration happens, will the current auth stop working?
Oh, for the SMTP relay. So let me just go back here. And I'll just I'll show you the difference as well. Or I'll use another system here. 1 second. Uh, just to show people the difference here. So this is a current version. What's live right now. So communications. So you can see in our SMTP relay, you have the username and password. After the upgrade, that gets replaced with the integration key. So if you're currently using this, your username and password will be automatically put into an integration key, and that integration key will be selected here. So there should be no change in the actual functionality. It's just we're moving that to a more secure area and handling that like we do all of our other integration keys. So I don't expect an impact from that. It should continue to work the way it is currently working. It's just we're storing that information in a different area. Now, if you turn on the OAuth 2, so a different authentication method for your SMTP relay, then of course you'll have to reauthorize. Hope that answered the question.
Great, thanks. When documents are uploaded via API, the linked system, will they also go through a virus scan?
That's a good question. I am not sure, to be honest. I don't want to assume, but maybe yeah, you might want to follow up with the platform team. We can get you an answer to that. I would like to say yes, but I don't know, so I don't want to confirm or deny that. I know if you upload it through the system, through the interface, they will get scanned. I don't know about the API scans. I'll have to get back to you. So as I said, if you want to send either a message off to Platform Solutions, we can get an answer to you, or raise up a support. I'll get an answer shortly, and then we can share that with you.
Then is the asynchronous loading of list views only applied to the UTA search, or will it also speed up loading of level 1 records that contain lots of on-page list views?
I believe it's happening in multiple locations. I don't have a full list, but so I can't say exactly where it is, but I do know it's in several places. It's more than just the UTA level 1.
Great. And then with group email function, now that from emails or from the drop-down menu, how do you populate that drop-down menu?
All right. So the group email drop-down menu is populated. First will be your user email. And then the other one that will show up there is if I go to communications, I believe it's system email temp. Well, not that one, sorry. It's email option security. So if you're using the from address, that's also an option. If you need other options in there, I guess reach out and let us know, because I'm not sure how we would add the other options at this point.
Great. Regarding the blocking of third-party executables, can you give some examples of how clients might be using those that will be blocked?
Sure. So the way I've seen before is maybe someone's created something in a smart folder. Maybe it's like a custom page made in a smart folder, and they've gone out and referenced instead of referencing jQuery within that comes with our system, they may have referenced the jQuery library, a different jQuery library somewhere else, or maybe they've had an external style sheet somewhere else, or some other script that they're pulling from another location, and they were using that on their page. Those are the kind of things that would be blocked at the server level. So again, if you do encounter something, and the way to check would be if you're using a critical process or some type of customization and it doesn't work, or it doesn't seem to be working, the best thing you could do is if you hit F12 in Chrome, for example, and look at console, if you look up here, it'll say right on that it's been blocked. If it says it's been blocked, then that might be an effect of that change, in which case do either reach out to support and we can temporarily kind of let that through, or move those third-party libraries into like a smart folder where then you can reference them. And again, I don't want to speak for the security people, but the whole idea here is, if that third party got compromised, we don't want automatically loading and executing things from a third-party site within your system for security reasons.
Great. And then for the AI assisted search, will the robot button be available for everyone, or will it be based on role?
Currently, it's available for everyone, but if that's something that's a concern, let us know, and we'll look at adding a role permission for that.
Okay, then we've got one. Could you review the email reminders once more?
Email reminders. So can I get a little more context to that one? Is that related to, like, are we talking about annotations, group email, like the group email, the annotations, or yeah, if I can just get a little more context on that question.
Group email reminders.
Oh, the group email. So yeah. So as we were saying, group emails, when you do a group email, it's going to be instead of it used to be free form text. So this used to be a free form text where I could type whatever I want. After this upgrade, it's going to have your name there, and if you've set up a default email, you can choose between the two. It's a drop down now instead. The problem before was when you could type anything, it was really easy to email spoof. So I could pretend to be anybody I want and send emails from anyone I want. So again, that's why this has been changed to a drop down. And I believe there was also a question already about perhaps someone wants to add something extra in there. And again, I would encourage to reach out to either the platform team or support, and we can kind of talk that through.
Okay, and then beyond the default email from the system, can we add any other options?
Currently, I'm not aware of that being possible, but again, as I said, let's reach out to support and our platform team, and we can look at possibly adding that. And I'll talk with the team after this call as well.
Great. It looks like that's all we had.
Those are some great questions, everyone, and thank you for. If there's no more, thank you for coming and sharing time with us. It's always great to. Let me show. It's always great to see everybody virtually.
Yeah,
And
thank you all for attending. Like I said, we'll have a recording out to you at the end of this week.
have a great day, everyone.